Well, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome. And it's another Thursday evening, Thursday evening. What can I say? Ladies and gentlemen, well, welcome. And thank you so much for joining me on the Thursday, the 22nd of the 2nd, 2024. I want to thank those on Instagram, thank those on Facebook, and thank those on YouTube as well. Well, it's a very interesting week. I must say, a very interesting week, and crazy thing which are happening in the House of Commons. I mean, I don't even have to touch Jamaica. I mean, there's so much excitement going on over here, and I'm going to play a couple of videos as to what is happening because what we are, and there are three topics or three areas which one would say the focus is on, if possible, tonight, and that is it's regarding the Speaker of the House. Um, they're saying that the Speaker's lost his confidence. There's a lack of confidence in the Speaker of the House, which they're saying, and also the UN and Gaza. I say United Nations and Gaza because there was a vote yesterday, and the resolution did not pass. And also at the same time, the post office victims are cleared. And one of the things that people are saying about the post office victims, and they're juxtaposing it, and of course, one has got to be careful how we do that still, but at the same time, many people are saying they're getting a very good deal. And people are now saying, what about the Windrush persons at the same time? But hey, let's have a discussion. Garry, good afternoon. How are you doing, sir?
Good evening, man. Good evening or good night. I don't know about the
Good night.
afternoon.
That's a good afternoon. Well, I'm in Jamaica, I mean, so my time is different, in my
Yeah,
heart.
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Yeah, fantastic. Listen, there's so much things which have been happening, and ladies and gentlemen, of course, you can bring in also what you think it is your top news of the week. Balance and wellness to you, Michelle. Welcome. I heard that in America, Garry, there's been some the phones are not working. That film that Barack Obama did a show recently, and I think that show is unfolding in America, whereby things are going crazy over there. Is that true, Michelle? I understand that phones are not working over there. Don't know how true that is. Yeah, I don't think but this very interesting thing which took place, and I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna play this just to set the stage. What has happened in the House of Commons in the UK? House of Commons in the UK. I'm gonna share this, and I'm just gonna play this just to set the stage, if anything. Yes, AT&T went down. That's what Michelle said. AT&T went down in the US. There, Garry. USV to let me see, Lindsay Hoyle. No, that's not the one there. Let me find that one there. Last night, insane Parliament. Here we go. Here we go.
The way amendments the opposition day motions are dealt with reflects an outdated approach. Order!
We're completely appear to be doing things in a way that's never been done before. Can I ask for your advice, Mr. Speaker, what is the point of an opposition day if it's going to be done like this?
Yeah. Where on earth is the Speaker of the House of Commons? How do we bring him to that seat to explain? How do we bring him to this House now to explain to the Scottish National Party why our views and our votes in this House are irrelevant to him?
That was never my intention for it to end up like that. I was absolutely convinced that the decision was done with the right intentions.
We have seen the SNP opposition day turn into a Labour Party opposition day. I'm afraid that is treating myself and my colleagues in the Scottish National Party with complete and utter contempt. And I will take significant convincing that your position is not now intolerable.
I have therefore decided to select the amendments both in the name of the Prime Minister and in the name of the Leader of the Opposition. Because the operation of Standing Order number 31 will prevent another amendment from being moved after the government has moved its amendment. I will exceptionally call the opposition front bench spokesperson to move their amendment at the beginning of the debate. Once the SNP spokesperson have moved their motion, at the end of the debate, the House will have an opportunity to take a decision on the official opposition amendment. If that is agreed to, there's a final question on the main motion. If
I'll stop that there. I'll stop that there for the time being. I guess many people are maybe wondering what has happened there, Garry, and I don't know if you have followed the news as to the breakdown as to what's been going on in the House of Commons.
Go ahead. No,
Garry,
you
can
go
you hear
ahead.
me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
Yeah. Because what they said, what happened is that how it happened is that the SNP, the third largest party in the House of Commons, has an opposition day debate. Yeah, because you got Labour Party is the biggest party, SNP, Scottish National Party, is the third biggest party, and uses it to put forward another motion calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. See, what has happened is that they have been trying to find some sort of wording to show in effect as to what is happening over there in Gaza. As the debate approaches, pro-Palestinian demonstrations also gather outside in Parliamentary Square. So what the speaker did, the speaker, in a sense, there's a word which is called like the mischief. Let me take this off. There's a mischief factor whereby the speaker is saying he's trying to protect parliamentarians, because there's another MP named Tobias Alwood recently where a lot of demonstrations and people went to his home, and he's starting to fear for his life. 2 MPs have been killed. I don't know if it's 2 or 3 have been killed over a few years in the UK. So the speaker is actually trying to protect MPs by what he's saying. But some are saying that the Labour Party under Keir Starmer apparently threatened or sort of put pressure on the speaker, because Labour MPs are now under increasing pressure from many of their constituents to support an immediate ceasefire, and Sir Keir faces the prospects of another rebellion. He had that rebellion before, and that is why a few MPs has pulled back. Labour shifted its position on the war, now calling for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire, and put forward an amendment to the SNP motion. So Labour put forward an amendment to the SNP motion. The government also put forward its own amendment, and they said by parliamentary convention, an opposition party amendment, in this case Labour, to a motion submitted by another opposition party, the SNP, is not put to a vote when there's also a government amendment. But among the representation made to the Commons, Speaker Sir Keir met Sir Lindsay. Garry, that's what they're saying. Sir Keir met Sir Lindsay. The Speaker decides the Commons will vote first on Labour's amendment before moving on to further votes on the SNP. What they should have been doing was moving on first to the SNP original motion, and then the government proposed an immediate humanitarian pause. The Speaker decision, which is Sir Lindsay Hoyle, provoked fury, right, on the Conservative and SNP benches. They accused him of helping Sir Keir avoid another revolt. So that's where it's happening now. And as a first vote approach, Common Leader Penny Murden says the Speaker has undermined the confidence of the House in him, and announced the Conservative will take no further part in the proceedings. So Conservative MP walked out in the protest, and SNP MPs also leave the chambers. The Labour motion is carried without a formal vote. right? So that's what is happening, and now what they're saying is that the speaker position is on shady ground. There's a view that there's a view right now that there's 67 MPs have voted for him, no confidence in the speaker, and the speaker has been apologizing and apologizing and apologizing to say that he's sorry, he's sorry, he's sorry. So he looks a bit weak and battered, I must say. So you may have to put yourself forward to be the Speaker of the House by Sunday. There may be a new one.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that English politics really is in trouble. Really. I don't think there's any true leader or leadership. I mean, there is some resemblance of leadership with Sunak there. I mean, he hasn't got the strongest of support by far by his previous predecessors.
Yes.
You know, but he's certainly leading. He's certainly exerting just a little bit of influence there.
Yes.
I feel sorry for him because he's where he's at this time. And I do feel sorry for him, but we'll just have to see what happens, really. I mean, the speaker of the House, the present one, hasn't again been as forthright, I feel, as his predecessor either. And the Labour Party hasn't got a leader, because if it's a big if here, if they say what Sir Keir did to Sir Lindsay, if that is true, then that really shows the strength of his leadership, because you shouldn't have to do certain things or intimidate certain individuals to have way. You shouldn't have to do that.
Well, you know,
decisions that you have to make, really.
Yeah, some person's saying that you know, they think he was doing the right thing and the best thing, and he regrets it. You know, and he said he took the decision to allow all sides to express their views because he was very concerned about the security of MPs, as I mentioned a while ago, who have received personal threats. Mr. Flynn, who is the SNP leader there, said he will take significant convincing that the speaker's position is not now intolerable, arguing his party has been treated with complete and utter contempt. I think the best question to ask now is the speaker being weakened, or you know, and will there be this early day motion? Somebody just said, and Sir Speaker only stated that he was not influenced by anyone, including Sir Keir. Well, I've got other inside sources who will not want to come on the show to say otherwise, that things happen inside there in Parliament, you know, and apparently Sir Keir is not saying that nobody else put pressure on the Speaker of the House, but it shows also here. I believe this is democracy at work at the same time, Garry. I believe this is democracy still to a certain extent. A speaker need to command and have the full confidence of the House to a certain extent. Wouldn't you agree with that? And wouldn't everybody agree that the speaker must have some level of confidence? America just got rid of one of the speakers recently. That was McCarthy. In Jamaica, they just got rid of Maria Della Rampel as speaker, and they put in the prime minister's wife. But many people are saying maybe she shouldn't be there as well. But the speaker must be able to command a level of confidence in. And I like Sir the speaker, but it's not up to me. You know. And
I mean, which MP or which politician right now, you tell me that you seem to be having your ears to the ground. Which politician is there that really has the respect of the top positions, of the three top positions in our parties?
That's yeah.
The leader of the opposition, the prime minister, as well as the speaker. Which politician right now has the level of gravitas that can fill those positions without anybody having second thoughts? I don't think there's any. But you tell me.
That's a very difficult question to answer at present, because there's one guy, but his name just slipped me now. But you see, everybody's towing a particular line, Garry. Everybody wants to play safe. That's what is happening now, even with the Middle East, and I will come on to that shortly. So therefore, there's a lack of effective backbone in leadership at this present moment. Somebody said the former speaker went through the same. I think it's a silly period. It's a fight for Scotland. Burker, what do you think about Burker? Burker in comparison to Lindsay Hoyle? Was Burker would have sought that out as order. I used to like Burker. I used to like his mannerism and stuff like that. But he was like a conservative Tory who switched and went to Labour side. They said he was because he was anti-Brexit. I think that's what with Burke. But I think Lindsay Hoyle is a nice gentleman, a good guy, a very good guy, if anything. And I think maybe that is his downfall, trying to please everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
again,
and if I play this, just listen. Sorry, go on.
Politics has changed. Politics has changed, and with that, politicians have changed. So the politicians of 30 years ago, let's say, politicians of 30, 40, 50 years ago hasn't got the same steel as politicians of today, really. And
well,
even though
go on. No, I was just saying we say that so much, and it is becoming so evident each time now that with what's happening in all around the world, you're not seeing strong leaders coming together and pull heads together and knock heads together to say, come on. When they had Merkel there, she would command a strong level of command of certain persons. There's nobody, I would say, Garry. And I believe Sunak is doing a great job, especially for the Prime Minister of the UK. But on the international, I don't think he is, because Russia is just running steam around everybody. It's alleged that Russia has killed this man. I'm not going to go out on the limb like President Biden and say Russia has killed him, Russia is blame, or blah blah blah. I'm not in a position to make those statements. Maybe Biden knows something that I don't know, but then Biden, I don't know. People tell Biden what to say, But if I just play this last bit before we sign off this one and just see what's going on here.
The official opposition amendment is not agreed to, I will call the minister to move the government amendment formally. That will engage the order. I'm going to finish. That will engage the provisions of Standing Order number 31. Finally, I should tell the House that, in my opinion, the operation of Standing Order number 31, which governs the way amendments to the opposition day motions are dealt with, reflects an outdated approach.
You can hear Garry, yeah?
Which restricts order. You'll be going and not be voting. That's the first one to leave then. Do you want to do it? No then. Firstly, I should tell the House, in my opinion, the operation of standing order which governs the way amendments opposition motions are dealt with reflects an outdated approach, which restricts the operations which can... Point of order.
I appreciate what you've outlined here, but I seek your advice because obviously I've taken advice from the clerks. This is the SNP's opposition day. And the purpose of an opposition day is for our party to have the ability to put forward our business. We've already had a significant delay to the start of this motion, which has significant interest to the extent we dropped our second motion, and now we're completely appear to be doing things in a way that's never been done before. Can I ask for your advice, Mr. Speaker, what is the point of an opposition day if it's going to be done like this?
Did you know that animals listen to their scared?
Yes. Here we go. Yeah, it's stop that there. Yeah. So you see what's happening there? Chaos in the house. I guess Jamaica is not so bad.
Well, Jamaica got. Jamaica gets its lead from the House of Commons. So
from the House of Commons, yes. Well, it is projected that by weekend, one will know something as to the outcome of this. But it's very interesting, and this is all emanating, of course, from the war in the Middle East. You know, that's what is happening. It's all emanating from war in the Middle East, and if we move straight over into the recent vote, there was a recent vote at the United Nations, and the vote in the United Nations was to UN vetoes call for immediate Gaza ceasefire at UN. US, the US has vetoed a resolution at the UN demanding an immediate ceasefire in Gaza after proposing its own draft urging a temporary ceasefire. Right? And what I understood was, and I was watching it, 13 countries voted in favor. Yeah, and one country abstained. Which country abstained? Which country you think abstained? Garry, which country you believe abstained?
I don't know who abstained.
It's not a trick question. Which country abstained?
Well, was that the US?
The UK abstained. The UK abstained. No, okay. The UK abstained. America voted against the resolution, and because America is a permanent member, the resolution failed. And Guyana is actually the president or the rotating president now for that section there. And Garry, a lot of people are scared of touching this particular area. People don't want to talk about this. People don't want to discuss it because they fear for repercussion, in regards to the whole bit regarding the Middle East. What I say, Garry, it is lack of backbone in leadership today around the world. There's United States there. Blessings and strength, Sir, One Jamaica TV. That's United States there, and I listened to the speech there. Of course, everyone is actually saying that October the 7th, of course, it shouldn't have happened. But there's something happening, which is the killing of so many people, which is happening now in the Middle East. And it's like nobody can actually come to grips to stop this. I think nothing is wrong to say that this is wrong. Nothing is wrong to say that this cannot go on. But if you say it a certain particular way, you're deemed to be cancelled or so, because you're going against certain grain. And I believe that there's such a need for, I think that is what is happening with the House of Commons. That's why the House of Commons is having this whole thing now, because every week you're having these demonstrations. People are outside the House of Commons making noise, demonstrating. People are going to members of Parliament home when they recognize that they vote in some particular way and challenging them, because somehow it seemed like the people, the voice of the people, is not coming through the leadership that they have in the House of Commons. That's what is happening.
But we've said that already. I mean, we've said that they are not all MPs, but there are MPs, and you see, when you put a bad apple amongst good apples,
yes,
the bad apple spoils the good apples.
Even orange, Gary. So, even orange. I had some orange the other day. One bad orange was in some packs of orange, and the orange all went. So it's all orange as well. Just want to drop that one. Yeah.
But there are MPs there that's just there for themselves. They're not there to represent anybody. They're not there to represent anybody. I mean, some of these MPs, and it's across the board. I mean, Labour as well as Conservative, SNP, Liberal, Democrats, just want your vote. And the closer they get to the general election or to the local election, they know you. But when they're moving away from the election period, you can't see them. You don't hear them. You don't know what they're up to. And when they go to the House of Commons to speak, what are they speaking for? Or what are they speaking about? What are they voting? Why are they voting the way they're voting? Is it because they've been bought off? Or are they voting because it benefits them? I mean,
and you're talking about in Westminster, isn't it? That's what you're talking about in Westminster. The voting out there, doing the voting in Westminster.
Yeah. I mean, and that is why you just said, you just informed us that some of the public is going to the MPs' homes, to voice their complaints, to voice their feelings, not complaints, to voice their feelings, because they are recognizing that the people that they've put in the House of Commons to represent them, the community, they're not doing that. Their voice, the community's voice, is not being heard within the halls of Westminster.
And that is what I sense. And that's what Lindsay Hoyle, the Speaker of the House, is saying that he was trying to do, where he combined all of these different amendments or so to make it as one. But everybody said, hey, with all good intentions, you did it wrong. You went against certain precedent as much as possible. And you're right. And it's always interesting. I always ask this question for all MPs at times. And you have some key MPs, like I never forgot Northern Ireland, Ian Paisley, the late Ian Paisley. Ian Paisley, one time when the Speaker of the House, it was Betty Boothroyd. Betty Boothroyd, she really loved him and just said to him, he called somebody a liar, or he said something to a certain extent, and just say, you got to change the words. Please change the words. And he said, I'm not going to change the word. And he said all these reasons why I wasn't going to change the word. The reason why I said he wasn't going to change the word was because his constituents sent him to Westminster, all the way from Northern Ireland, to speak a particular way. And if he doesn't do that, he can't go back there. So the question is, you wonder sometimes if the MPs or the persons that you vote in that position, do they go back to the constituents to speak to them, to say, listen, this is a vote or so? Or do they have to go and follow a particular whip? Are they being whipped a particular way in Parliament? So this is what is happening, and that is why MPs now are being fearful of their lives. All MPs have been talking about now, they have been actually having concerns about, when they go to surgery. About the guy who got stabbed at his surgery, what's her name, who got killed during the Brexit. I think it was during the Brexit period or whatever like that. So they're all sort of scared. So that, and some of them are actually resigning, stepping down at the next election at the end of the year. Because of these whole things, Garry. So so it's a very it's becoming a dangerous ground being in politics. Dawn Butler have said it of recent days, because she's she gets a lot of they get a lot of hate mail. Diana Butt got a lot of it in Hackney there as well. She gets a lot of it. Hate mails and things based on how they vote, because how they vote, of course, we all see that. It can be seen easily how you vote. But but this is all tinkering on the Middle East. It's the Middle East whereby persons are scared of wanting to address, scared of wanting to talk about it. And I think someone had said something here on TikTok, if I can find it. I think it's gone. It's gone far back. It said the former speaker went through the same. Yeah, what they said. The whole world rather die than shut down Israel. The world rules that the UN has from 1945 need to go. Well, that is that's different views, but the views are very strong out there, Garry. Views are very strong out there.
You see, there is only, to me, nobody wants to speak out wants to say anything negative about the Palestinians.
Yes.
Nobody.
Yes.
Everybody wants to be on the side of the Palestinians. For some unknown reason. Well, I wouldn't even say unknown.
Yes.
But there are reasons why, when you look on a particular, and I'm not going to say which station at this time, and your listeners know, when you listen to a particular station, news station that is, everything is about what's happening in Gaza. Every news item is about what's happening amongst the Palestinians. There is nothing. If there's anything that they're showing about anything else in the world, it's only probably just a couple of minutes. But 90% of the news item is all about the Palestinians, and they will keep repeating it. Now, the funny thing about it is this: is that the presenters on this station, they're not all Palestinian, or they're not all Arabs. There are some Americans. There are some from England. There are some from I believe there's one from Australia.
Yes.
But they can't speak anything negative. They've been given things because this station is owned by a particular country and government. They cannot speak anything other than what is being given to them.
They got to follow suit. They got to play a particular route.
Yes. So I feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry. I feel sorry for them because they can't speak. If they've got any other views of themselves, they have to keep it to themselves, or they're out. They're out of a job. Now, when you look at other areas, Sylbourne, like Syria, how many millions of people did Assad gas? Did Assad put dirty bombs over? How many did he kill? How many Palestinians there? And it's your people should Google that. Don't just listen to what you're being fed on these social media websites and these people. How many Palestinians or Syrians has Assad killed? Yet nobody speaks about that. How many people have been killed in Ukraine? But that's gone. That's in the undergrowth now. Nobody really thinks about that anymore. But here we have 1,200 men, if so much, 1,200. It could have been more, 1,400 probably. I'm not sure. who decided on a fate on that fateful day to cut wires in a fence, to go into a particular neighborhood or whatever, to do atrocities such as to behead people, to cut open a pregnant woman, right? Take her babies, to chop off women's breasts and kick them all over the place. Okay, to take guns, and I'm just saying it as plain as I can because these things are fact. To place a gun, right, in the genitalia of a woman and shoot it through her. You understand what I'm saying? To take kill an Israeli man, to cut off his penis and to put it in his mouth. These are the things that happened. These are the things, and it's a fact. These things are facts. And you've got the whole world who wants Israel to stop what they're doing and to let Hamas then regroup and probably come back and do the same thing again. And as I said, Sylbourne, some weeks back on your program, I likened it to the fact or to a point. Ask any one of your listeners that if they were in their house, in their homes, whether they be in the UK, in Jamaica, in the US, or wherever they may listen to you, right? How would they like them in their house, and you've got a group of people bust down your door? Probably you're not there. You the individual represents the army, the security force. You're not there, but they break down, they kick down your door. Your parents or your wife or your children are at home, depending on if you're married or not, your girlfriend, whatever. They kick down your door, they go in and they mutilate your parents, your girlfriend, your wife, your children. And you're going to come home there and just sit down and say, oh, well, okay, all right. What would you do? Now, I'm a Christian. I am. And I don't know what I am not advocating for violence. I'm not. But this world today is saying, they're giving a signal to say, we can come in, kick down your door, do what we want to do in your property, in your land, whatever, and you're then not supposed to do anything about it. Don't do anything about it.
It is very. So, Garry,
they're crazy. People are crazy. I'm not saying that probably Israel has gone overboard. Yes, probably Israel has gone overboard. There are atrocities on both sides. War is war. War is war, and innocent people will die. But the reasons why this war begun, look at the reasons why they're doing what they're doing.
I hear your point there, and depending on who you're speaking to, they will say where the war started from. Some will say from 1945. Some will say from long time before, and and we can keep going over this over and over again. But I just hope that somehow the powers that be. I'm glad that the UK has been doing some sort of humanitarian aid. I've been dropping out packages off the planes, and I believe they're going to tweak something in the resolution with the House of Commons to try to get something there. So I hope that something can happen in regards to that for the United Nations to somehow. But again, you have to ask yourself a question. The United Nations, have they got any teeth? Have they got any teeth? They haven't got any teeth, do they? Would you say they got
the
any
United,
teeth? Yes.
the
Anybody
United
can answer
Nations.
that question. Anybody can answer that. TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. Do you think the United Nations have any teeth, or are they just
They've got teeth.
being
They
diplomatic?
have
They are
teeth.
called diplomats. Sorry.
They have teeth, but the teeth only come out at certain times. The teeth only come out at certain times. They have what is called retractable teeth,
Really?
and they only act right now. Right now, they don't have the resolve. They don't have the strength. They really don't have the mind to wanting that war to cease. I believe. I believe when you look at the track record of the UN when it comes to Israel, when it comes to any other country,
Yes.
the results may be a little different. And if your listeners who are, I believe, are intelligent and they all know how to research and do their stuff, I believe that if they look on how the UN behaves when it comes to Israel, yes, they always go against Israel.
Yes.
There is always a ruling that goes against Israel. Always. They never act as one when it comes to Israel. There's always a problem. But when it comes to other areas now, other countries, there is a resolution. That's the word I wanted to use. There is always a positive resolution that can be drawn up to tackle the problem of other countries. They will always seem to be unified on that. But when it comes to Israel, there's never ever been, since the formation of Israel in 1948, there has never been a positive resolution. Many resolutions have come, but they've never been on the side of Israel.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that. I want to move on quickly, Gary, before we wrap up, onto the post office scandal. There's been a latest one in the papers. The post office scandal victims are set to be cleared by new law. The post office, there's some breakthrough in regards to that, whereby lots of them are going to be exonerated. Even those who they're deemed to be guilty, they said, even the ones they say it is worth it that even guilty ones to be freed as well, and against the post office scandal victims said to be cleared by new law. Hundreds of people wrongly convicted in the post office scandal are set to have their names cleared under new legislation planned by the government. The law is expected to come into effect by the end of July and will apply to convictions in England and Wales. And listen to what it says. It will apply to conviction meeting specific criteria and is expected to clear the majority of victims. And the government said the possible exoneration of some genuine guilty of crime was a price worth paying. Now, Guy, what's been coming up a lot, especially with the Windrush aspect, is that how quick they moved on this, vis-a-vis how quick they move with the Windrush. I mean to say that they can make it happen if they want to make it happen. I don't know if you ever heard that sort of discussion going around in the grapevine. I'll speak it out. I'll just say it out for saying sake.
No, I mean, when you say Windrush has been positive, in what sense are you talking about? Because
I didn't say positive. I didn't say positive. I think it's more negative because the Windrush, a lot of people are still waiting for funds from the Windrush, and they're waiting for a long time. They're waiting to get compensation. They're waiting to get legal assistance. But in this particular case, you're seeing the injustice to a lot of persons as well. But it has moved very quickly on.
You
vis-a-vis.
see, again, sorry, sir, again, and it's happened time and time again. We're now approaching election, but that's one thing. But even before that, even before now, they've got this big program in regards to the Windrush. Big program. There's money there, yes, and the West Indian, heritage can apply and can get this and they can get that, and they're not getting anything. People are being turned down. People, again, as you said, people are still waiting for what? It's listen. This thing is just like on the benefit system. All right. Every year, at the end of every financial year, you always hear from some government department or the circle saying there are funds that people are not claiming for, that there are benefits there that people are not claiming, they're not doing that. But yet, when people
which is earmarked. Yes.
Yeah, people not getting them anyway. It's a minefield. They'll go so far, and all of a sudden, oh, you haven't got this, or you need that, or you're working 1 minute over the time, or you haven't reached the threshold for this or the threshold for that.
So it is discouraging. So it's discouraging.
It will be discouraging, and people will not get what is purported that they have a right to receive.
Yes.
And even with the post office thing, I mean, really, when you think about it, Sylbourne, where is the government going to get all this money from? Where? Because obviously they can't find it for anything else. They're pouring money, as I said, into the not NHS. They want money for the NHS, okay, which should get some money. If there's any department that should get some finance, is the NHS. They can't get that. So if they can't get the money for the NHS, where they're going to get the money for the post office or for Windrush? Where is this money coming from? They're finding the money. Or they're finding the resource for the war in Ukraine. They're finding it some way to do something or the other. They're finding the resources to increase the pay for the MPs. They find certain things, but for the things that's affected men, families. Hold on, Sylbourne. Hold on a little. Let me just push this thought.
Yeah.
I mean, look at marriages. Look at families. Families have been broken. Divorces has happened. Yes. Even within the families, there was one mother and her daughter. They were on TV a couple of weeks back. Because of the way how the post office handled them and said to the mother, it was either the mother or the daughter, you can't talk to each other. You can't talk to each other, because if you do talk to them, then what may happen? Okay, nothing of the sort. But yet, because of what the post office said, a rift came between them both. They never spoke to each other, and it was for how many years? You see, compensation. You can't compensate for that. There's no way that you can compensate for a husband or a father,
the injustices,
who was blacklisted, who was bankrupt, and he has died a broken person, and the family has been left during that time to think that the husband, the father, the boyfriend, whatever he was, the grandfather, was made out to be a thief, he lost his livelihood, he lost his possessions, the inheritance that he thought that he could pass on to his children, to his wife. He died a broken, bankrupt man. The family they don't have anything. How can you compensate for that? And then the compensation that they're giving for them to them is nothing compared. You can't compare that foolishness to what they should really get.
Well, you talk about they talk about some sub postmasters caught up in this scandal have died or taken their own lives in the intervening years, and so far 102 convictions have been overturned. And the issue was thrust back in the spotlight by the ITV drama. But also, there's another thing which is brewing again between the business secretary, which is Kemi Badenoch, and also the head of the post office, other person there. So that's what is happening there. So, but you know, they'll always find money, though, Gary. They'll always find money in regards to these sort of things, because just like when in the war started, I mean, one of the things you got to watch now and watch how it's unfolding. They are talking about putting sanctions, guess on where? Russia, because of the recent killing of the gentleman. So the recent sanction they have done is 6 persons that they have put sanctions on. Now, I worry about that, Garry, because when the war started, when they started doing these sanctions, it wasn't hurting Russia. It was more hurting us. You remember, the sanction wasn't hurting Russia. The sanction was more hurting us. And everybody's getting excited again about this. But, you know, I'm not going to be like Biden, as I said, and start to make declaration as to who kill who and so like that. But, you know, more than likely, everyone is thinking that Putin is behind the killing of a gentleman, and Putin is behind that. So that's another thing. But listen, election is in the air for the America. Election in the air. So much millions you got to give Biden to help him to pay off his bills. Rishi Sunak, election is in the air as well. As even my local area, there's a by-election because one of the guys who became the MPs in the recent by-election, he was a former mayor of Lewisham. So he left Lewisham and resigned and went down to Kirkdale, and he won that seat in Kirkdale because it was like one of those places whereby you can put a lipstick on any pig and they'll win. That is a saying, they said. I think a guy named Mr. Joseph Patterson always says that from UIC, you know, lipstick on pig, when you're talking about the independence or the republic in Barbados. But I saw something that the Prime Minister of Jamaica said recently, and I have to agree with him, whether it's genuine or not, but I agree with him. He said that he will implement any policies, whether it's from JLP or PNP, as long as it is in the betterment of the country. And I've always said that when it comes on to policies, because whenever you have elections coming up, or when you have new leaders or a leadership contest, you always have persons coming up with these fantastic and these brilliant ideas, in these manifestos with all these great things. And I'm thinking, hang on a second, why were you keeping this from the leader? Why were you keeping this from the people? You know? And in Jamaica, there's a thing they call Vision 2030, which I believe everyone should be working in partnership in order for that to become the manifesto, the ultimate manifesto for Jamaica to become an ultimate developed country in 2030. But the only thing that I say in regards to that is, when you're doing so, make sure the owner or the originator of the actual policy, you bring them to the table too, and don't say yours. You know, so
I don't know why people, especially in this day and time, especially in this day and time, as you were saying and you alluded to, if the parties would only work together, because when one party, all the parties don't have all the solutions.
Yes.
But there may be a solution out of, let's say, well, as we see now, when the Conservative or JLP make have some resolutions or what is it, Sylbourne? What is it that they have? For the manifesto.
Manifesto. They have manifesto.
Yeah. Right. Then you then have the Labour Party or the PNP that will then write a manifesto to oppose the manifesto of the opposite party. Now, what's the sense of that? Why are we? Yeah. Why don't you just sit down, look at the manifestos together, and say this will work, that won't work, but we'll work with the opposition to implement one or two of their policies because they're good, and we believe it will enhance and help the citizens of our country. But Garry, they won't do that.
Garry, I hear some foxes outside having a fight. Garry, you sound like me. You sound like me when people say I'm living a pipe dream. I'm living a pipe dream world.
Well, it is a pipe dream because it's not going to happen. That won't happen because everybody, if the manifesto works, then they don't want.
If you hear the sound, it's not me. Some foxes having a fight outside or something like that going on. Yeah.
You sure it's not? You sure it's not the opposition parties outside the front there are fighting?
Yeah. No, you're right. Listen, you're right about that. I mean, in a way, I think the PNP has now put out their manifesto. I think I heard it on the news not so long ago. And I think the JLP said they're going to put out the manifesto because no one wants to put it out first because they say they're going to teach their style. When I used to break dance many years ago, we used to sometimes hide some of our styles because other guys might come and bite. We call it bite, they might come and try to teach your style, you know what I mean? So we call it bite. So we always try to keep ourselves away when we're practicing our moves. So this is what is happening now. So the manifesto has been out for the PNP. I presume that the JLP is going to put out their manifesto, which is 4 days before an election. 4 days before an election, Garry. Because no one wants to put it out first, in a sense, because somebody's going to teach them style or teach them their mojo or bite it. And I rightly say that once an election is win or so, and the manifesto is out, why don't they all sit down together and try to find what is the best thing for the nation? Come on, I think that must be a way forward. What do you think, people? The way forward for this world, working together, as well. So yes, so that's it. Anyhow, so the election is on the 26th, Garry, in Jamaica. Unfortunately, we can't vote. We don't have no vote. So try. Somebody sent me a while ago the Electoral Commission, the list where you can check. I can send it to you. You can check if your name is on it. If your name is on it, somebody vote on your behalf, Garry. So I can send it to you to check. Let's see if you're on the voters list in Jamaica. I shouldn't be on it because I shouldn't be on it because I've never voted in Jamaica in an election from the time I became from age where I could vote and to leave Jamaica. There was no election, so I've never actually voted in Jamaica and put a thing on my finger as yet. Yeah. So we wish the Jamaican they say it's a spirited election. One child died on a bus, and another lady lost her leg in the process of on the bus or jumping off the bus or something like that. These motorcades, which is happening there. But generally speaking, it's been a peaceful, jovial election. Yeah. All right.
Well, let's hope so.
Let's hope so. Yeah. And I think it sets the motion. I think it sets the motion for a general election. I believe that if it turns out in the favor of the Prime Minister, then what will happen is that he will take it as a cue to go ahead and push forward for a general election. That's what I believe will happen in Jamaica. All right. So, okay. All right. So anyway, Garry, have a good night. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining us this evening in review, looking at the topics, the United Nations and Gaza, seeking for some peace. What is happening in the House of Commons for the past 2 days? They call it Bangarang. In Jamaica, I believe the oppositions, they walked out much more with order. In the UK, they just make pure noise. As a matter of fact, before I leave, let me just, I don't know if I have the video here, but I can play something. Nah, I'm not gonna play it. But you need to watch it. But there's a lot of noise that they make. You know what I mean? Order one person. You know. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. Thank you on TikTok. Thank you on Facebook. Thank you on YouTube. See you Saturday night on Talk and Sip, and Sunday night I should be with Daniel Archer from National Integrity Network in Jamaica, talking about one day before the election and possible Matundo as well. Okay, so peace out and God bless you. Garry, see you around.
All right, bless you, man. Bless you. We'll talk later, yeah?